Next, we have a couple of real veterans in emergency preparedness. This is the Harlem Emergency Network, led by Mr. Wali Abdun Noor and Bob Ponce. Wali is one of the godfathers of our whole emergency preparedness effort here at WHCR. He was the one that first introduced our team to mobile radio operations procedures. I'm sure he's going to talk about that. So please welcome Bob Ponce and Wali Abdun Noor.
All right, everybody. First of all, how's everybody doing? How did you enjoy the lunch? Courtesy of Harlem Emergency Network. Second, it's great to be here for, is this the 9th or the 10th? It's the 9th. Okay, so we skipped 2. With the pandemic. Was it 3 years or 2?
20, 21, 22.
Okay, all right. So we're on 9. Next year is 10. Hopefully we make it to 10. So at that first one, Stu was there, Wally was there, of course, Angela and Tina. There's a few faces. Cert was there. And of course, Carol Johnson was one of our featured speakers at the first one. So we had an eye for talent way back when. And that's our partner in crime. Carol and I, during the COVID, we did regular weekly broadcasts for about a year and a half every Wednesday morning, just giving people updates. And people may or may not know it, but Carol is personally responsible for the distribution of tens of thousands of PPE, masks, gloves, sanitizer. So I just say that to say, let's give a hand for the people who have been working on your behalf for years and still are doing it. Now, Carol came up here before and said, we're not here to scare you, we're here to prepare you. Well, that's not exactly true. I'm here to scare you, because current situations are at an all-time high. If you haven't noticed, if you get nervous every time you turn on the news, well, it's not just you. So, as you know, we have things developing in the Middle East. We may have U.S. troops on the ground in the Middle East soon. And that creates an escalation. And if you think it doesn't affect us here in New York, then you haven't figured out what being in New York means. Because as much as I love this city, and we have so many benefits here, the benefits of community. And if you think about all the resources, whether it be from CERT, Harlem Hospital, NISM, the Red Cross, all these organizations and community organizations, Connect telling you about mental health, these are benefits you get from living in a very community-oriented city. But in an event of a really horrific event, a lot of these services and access that you have go by the wayside quickly. So the first thing I want to talk to you about, making sure you have the right mindset, because if you don't have the mindset, you're not going to make it through a tough event. And so, being here, we went through 9/11, that was a big event. We went through the pandemic, was a big event. We've had these storms that were big events. So something big is likely to come, and it hits New York harder than other places. So, and what are we looking at? We're going into an election season. The threat of racial violence, civil war, these are things that have been unthinkable, but you need to start thinking about them now, because that's the era we are in. And you all have taken the first step by being here, but you got to keep stepping, because for every one of you that's in here, there's 10 of you who didn't make it here today. And if there are 10 of you, if they're your family, your friends, your church members, part of your organization, if they're part of where you live, you need to start getting people into the mindset of preparation. Now, I won't go through too much of it because I'm following Carol Johnson, and she gave you a lot of it. But I would want to underscore the 7 survival priorities we've been talking about for years, which is food, water, shelter, health and medicine, power, communications, and the last one that no one talks about is sanitation. So food and water, these are the basics. Do you have enough food to stay in your house for a measured amount of time. Again, as you said, or put it in your go bag. You can't put the macaroni and cheese box in your go bag, and you need to have food that doesn't require refrigeration, or you may not have a way to cook it. So you have to think about those things, but you have to prepare for it in advance. You have to start getting into habits of building your capacity in all these areas. Water. Do you have a water filter? These are things that not only affect your short-term existence, but also your long-term existence. Because if you don't know the quality of your water, it's best that you start paying attention to it. And if you try and buying water, first of all, you'll go broke buying those Poland Spring bottles. And second of all, there's no guarantee that they actually are giving you the highest quality of water. We talk about your shelter. And so that was the sheltering in place. Do you have everything in your house to stay in your house in a measured period of time? And do you have another location to go to if you get stuck out of your house? So you've got to think about these things in advance. All the resources are here to make plans. If you walk out of here today and you don't start making a plan, and if you don't do your go bag, don't come back to us crying next year because, and you might need the go bag before next year. So please don't waste time and go into that mindset of what I need to do to be prepared. And the fourth one I mentioned was health. So what do you need to do to provide for your own health? And Carol went into this, but you need to think about it for yourself. Do you have medicine? Do you have glasses? Do you have special equipment? Do you have enough to sustain you if you get cut off? You turn on TV ads. Oh, we do capsule. We deliver to your house. Well, they're not delivering to your house during an emergency. So, you think about all these things. Now, power we talk about because when you talk about extreme events, what happens if there's a blackout? How does that affect you immediately? How does it affect you short-term, mid-term? If you're not asking these questions, you're going to be surprised when one of these things actually happens. Communications has been the lifeblood of HEN. We founded this organization around the idea of having communications. And I'm going to turn it over to Wali and Anesta and Raheem in a second, and they're going to get into details about what we've been doing with radio communications. The last one I want to talk to you about, which virtually nobody talks about in extreme emergencies, is sanitation. But all I want to do is remind you of New Orleans after Katrina, the Superdome. And what killed more people in the Superdome was sanitation, because they didn't think about those things and they were in a confined situation, and the human excrement starts piling up. It creates a health hazard. So, you need to think about those things as a microcosm. If you are stuck in your home or apartment and you're there for a measured amount of time, do you have enough water? What happens if your water gets cut off and you can no longer flush your toilets? What's your plan? So I'm not here to give you the questions. I'm here to get you to start thinking in this direction, because survival is about the right mindset. And right now, all of the information we're getting is that we need to all step it up a level. I'll say one last thing. So our first emergency preparedness day back in 2013, we had a guest on, Eitan Edwards. Some of you know him. Anybody? Raise your hands if you know who he is. We have a few people who do know who he is. So he is one of the foremost disaster and survival experts in the country. He, in February of 2001, was on, I guess it's Kiss's Open Line, and he talked about a possible event at the World Trade Center. He correctly predicted it would most likely happen in September. He correctly predicted it was likely to be by a plane. He correctly predicted what time in the morning it would be likely to happen. He sat down in 2018, I believe. Mark was there, I was there, Carol was there, Wali was there. And at that time, we're in the middle of Trump's term, and we thought our biggest threat was probably, civil violence caused by all this turmoil in the Trump administration. And he told us, no, the biggest threat right now is a pandemic. 2018, 18 months before it hits. So, we're here now, and I've been in communication with him lately, and he is at a very high threat level. And one of the things that he tracks is you have, there's a book called Survival of the Richest, and it's all about, by an author called Douglas Rushkoff, and it's about the billionaires and how they plan for their own emergency preparedness. And when you have billions, you can spend billions, and you can buy up enough stuff that you can sit somewhere for years and have enough food, water, whatever. So those people have been escalating their safe. They don't have safe rooms. They have safe bunkers. Some of them have islands, and they have been upscaling their activity recently. So that's like when you go in the forest and you have all the birds and things tweeting, and all of a sudden it's quiet here in the forest. I don't hear the crickets. I don't hear the birds. It's because they know it's time to get out of here. So I'm just telling you, the crickets stop chirping and the birds stop singing, and that means we have to be on high alert. And I'll leave it at that. There's also, Hen, we have a sign-in sheet at the back table. If you want to say more information about it, please make sure you sign and put your email address and/or phone text number.
Bob, before you go, what did Anton say was the new emergency?
When we're done with this portion, we'll talk to you later. Sign the sheet.
All right. Pay attention to what he's saying. My name is Wali Abdun. I won't even say I was in the beginning, because the beginning started there and back there. The CERT team, back in 2005, we were actually started HEN and WEBT in this room. And it all started because of Sandy and because I was in the CERT program, and this is how we got started. I want to just quickly go through some communications information. Could you go to the next slide? Okay, so what we want to talk about is, what do we want to talk about? What is emergency communications? It's not just communications. Why do we need it? What are the different types of communications? New York North Emergency Network, the Integrated Public and Alert and Warning System, HAM, Nessa's going to talk about HAM radio. And one thing that very few people talk about is how do you communicate when there is no electricity. So we're going to try and get through this awfully quick. Could you go to the next slide, please?
Also, please hold your questions until the end of the presentation.
What is emergency communications? In an emergency or disaster, when normal modes of communications are inadequate or non-existent. In other words, you pick up your phone, you go to dial 911, and you can't get through. Or you pick up your phone, you go to 911, and there's not even a dial tone. What do you do then? Another thing for emergency communications is, sure, your phone is working, and the difference between normal communications and emergency communications is that when communications that needs accurate and vital information for the responders to get to you, and for those that are being affected by whatever the problem is. Okay? Why do we need it? In an emergency or disaster without communications, there is no response. None whatsoever. No help coming. If you put your hand on a hot stove and there's no communication between your hand and your brain, your hand's gonna burn up. You gotta have communications. To ensure that, another reason is to ensure that the correct and adequate materials and personnel come to where the incident is. You don't want a doctor to come when you needed a plumber, or vice versa. Or you might have a lot of people coming to an event and you don't need them all. So you can communicate and tell some people that we have enough people here, or we need more people. Okay, can I get the next? So that's what emergency communications is. There's different kinds of platforms. When I say platforms, different kinds of devices and ways that you can communicate. Of course, you have your normal from 1 to about 4. I'm pretty sure everybody knows them: cell phone, text, broadcast, cable TV, internet, all of that. Okay, getting from 5 through 7, you have like mesh networks. That's normally in your house. If you have internet, you have like one router that sends the signal out throughout the whole house. Mesh network means that every device that's there is sending out the signal. It's receiving and it's sending out, so that if one goes down, you can pick it up from the next one. Interoperable ability is between two it's between different types of communication systems. So cable TV is different from AM radio, but if one can talk to the other, or if one can bridge across to the other, that's interoperability. That is one of the things that is definitely needed. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people got killed in 9/11, because they were telling them get out, but their radio was on a different channel and people didn't get the message. And you have two-way radio that was mentioned earlier, and you have the old two-way radio, which are analog. Now you have digital radios. You have those radios can now do video, radio teletype, point to point. You can use a repeater. Point to point is short distance, like from here maybe to 145th Street. Repeater is from here down to the Brooklyn Bridge. High frequencies, you can talk around the world, and on the bottom there's satellite. Okay, Raheem is going to take it from here. He's going to talk about 9N. What's 9N?
Peace, y'all. How's it going? Start you off. What is 9N? That is New York North Emergency Network. I'll take the mask off. I don't like taking the mask off. This is why we're here, because we need to know we're in a pandemic. Gotta keep it on. Stay scared, stay prepared. New York North Emergency Network mission is a growing communication hub made up of community-based organizations, houses of worship, local businesses, block associations, governmental and non-governmental agencies for the purpose of matching vital resources with the needs of the community during a major emergency or disasters. Basically, what that means is, all you all here can be part of this. Just get your knowledge, get your communication. We're going to get into that in a second. 9N goal is to utilize most the various communication platforms mentioned in the previous slide. 9 also provides emergency communication training for its participants, so please sign up. It is vital. 9 is also managed by a unified command structure made up of different participants. We also operate on levels. Level 1, the network is offline or off the air. There's no traffic. Level 2 is for maintenance, training, testing, drills. In other words, we do every week a radio check just to make sure that our devices are working, just to make sure that your device is even on. So if you remember it's Monday and you're not hearing something, something's wrong. Fact of life. Level 3, voluntary monitoring of the 9 channel. That means there is no NCO, which is a network control operator. Thank you, Mom. That basically means that all units are monitoring. There might be traffic, but not necessarily. Level 4 is a schedule activated for an incident or an event, such as, let's say, a marathon or a bike tour. We'll get together, we're bringing in all our equipment, we have people out in the field, and we're all communicating back and forth to each other, letting each other know what's going on out in the field. With that, you're going to need a network control officer and a network duty officer. I got that right? All right. And level 5, the top one, which is emergency activation, which means things like Hurricane Sandy coming down on you, hey, quick. We are activated, could be 24/7. It could be for months, depending on how long the incident or event lasts. And until we have a recovery situation in process. Next one up. So this is how we operate. Can you just pull it up a little bit?
I tried before. Oh, yeah, here we go.
All right, I just need it down a little bit more. All right, so this is how we operate, starting with FEMA and what's called integrated. Hold on a second, I lost my notes. I have my notes. Integrated public. I know I had it. Pardon me, y'all. Alert and warning systems. I always mess that up. Followed by New York State Emergency Management, followed by New York City Emergency Management, which has a situation room, a EOC, and a watch command, which brings us down to either 911, Citywide Disaster Services 1, or New York City CERT. And at the bottom is all the networks that helps bring all this information up to the top, which is WHCR Emergency Broadcast Team, Harlem Emergency Network, that's right, South Bronx Emergency Network, New York North Emergency Network, which is all of us, including Manhattan North Emergency Network and East Harlem COAD. Let's talk about the integrated public alert, okay, and warning system. So starting from the left, it starts here where you'll start from local, go to state, territorial, tribal, federal. If any of these areas has a problem, instead of spreading it all over, it goes through an IPAWS portal, which puts it exactly in the region it needs to be. So if you have a problem in New York, there's no reason why people in New Mexico need to know about it. Along with that, it also moves over here to the emergency alert systems, your commercial mobile alert systems, or wireless emergency alert systems. I'm pretty sure you've gotten those when you got Ambers and things of that nature. Internet services, NOAA, which is the weather services, and state, local, and unique alerting systems. So whatever your local capacities might have in place. And all of this gets pushed to you at large, the American people, through AM, FM, satellite radio, digital, analog, cable, and satellite TV, EAS, emergency alert systems. Y'all are familiar with that, We also have a wireless emergency alerts capability on your phone. Web browsers, widgets, websites, and social media might also broadcast these, as well as NOAA. Now, if you see this radio, I need you all to pay attention to this radio because it was brought up that your power might go down. These are solar powered. You want to keep these by your window, so if anything goes down, you can still have a way to communicate. They also have battery packs that are solar powered. You want to get those as well. So when you don't have no power, plug in, you're back on. Where was I? As well as future technology, which is again FM bands, ETNs, sirens, and digital signage.
Okay. The last thing that we want to talk about at this time, and then Anesta will quickly go over ham radio. We talked about the network going down. What do? Okay. The first easiest way is to keep a whistle with you. You don't want to be shouting and screaming because you're already just like me now, can't talk. You know, you're already nervous and everything, and so you need to have a whistle. There's another way, of course, this is that flag semaphore way is you have to be very well trained with that. But that's when people, I don't know if you ever used to see people in the Army do like this and do like that. That's what that is. You gotta have a flashlight. Something that everyone here should know, that if you have a phone and you got a flashlight on that phone, know how to use it. If you ride the subway, say somebody's down on the track, you see a train coming, you need to know how to stop that train. And you can stop the train just by doing like this. And the motorman knows to stop the train. And part of our team stop the train from running over a person so it works. Okay? If you're someplace trapped and there's some metal that you can tap on that metal. Another thing, if your organization or something has a megaphone, people think that's passé. That's old school. Get your megaphone out. All right? An echo chamber is a place that your voice may echo. So if you're any place where your voice echoes, know where that place is. Okay? Upside down flag. The upside down American flag is a emergency signal. And the last thing is a triangle. A triangle or three. If you have a whistle, you blow it 3 times. Anything 3. Triangle is a emergency signal. And a white sheet hanging out of the window, fire department knows exactly what that means. It means that you up there, you're trapped up there, and they come and get you. So those are some of the things that you could do if there's no electricity. All right, and that's the quickly.
I heard you.
You,
I'm
you gonna,
coming. I'm coming.
you gonna,
I'm coming.
3.
Okay. Raheem,
That's
put that
part
on
of what I was
Stu,
saying.
put that on slideshow, please.
Anything that you can do that goes
Okay.
3 times. It's say if you're banging on a wall, go bang, bang, bang. Anything that you can use to send the signal 3 times, people know that that's an emergency. Okay, we got to go.
Good afternoon. Okay, one of the things that was on Wale's slideshow was Morse code. Is this working? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Morse code is very, very important. It's an old-fashioned way, but Morse code will get out when radios don't get out, when definitely phones and internet and the rest of that doesn't get out. Morse code will get out. Why he had the words Morse code next to where you blow the whistle? What is it? 3 long, 1 short, 3 long? I can't remember. To blow like that, anybody in communications, anybody in emergency management, any policemen, any firemen, anybody who's in the Army will know that that's Morse code and know that you have a problem. So that's what that was on there. Okay. What is amateur radio? Amateur radio is a recognized national asset, providing trained operators. That's all of you. You're just going to be trained. Technical specialists, that's all of you. And disaster response communications in the time of need. Ham is another word for an amateur radio operator. Just keep going. That's one of the radios. Anyone could become a ham. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. It doesn't matter if you're disabled. Go ahead. That's another radio. In order to keep business and municipalities from taking advantage of ham radio operators, we are called amateur radios. Amateurs do not get paid. So you do not get paid in amateur radio. That's another radio. One of ham's most enjoyable aspects is that we are all called by our first name. There's no hierarchy. People help you. They don't expect any payment. Whether you're a famous person, there's many astronauts who are ham radio operators. We're all known by our first name, whether you're a little kid or a big CEO. That's another radio. All those radios are back there. Hams talk all the time. We literally talk all the time. Go ahead. But we do digital codes because now we can do hams using a radio and a computer. We can send information from the computer over radio waves, not necessarily having to use the internet. That's another one of my radios that are back there. Hams provide public service. We do public service during parades, during sporting events, during marches, but especially during bad weather. We communicate that information. We pass it again, either through the radio or through the computer to government officials. Now is the best time to get active and to get on ham radio. Anybody who has any questions, I'm back there. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anesta Vannoy, Raheem Vannoy, Wali Abdun, Noor, and Bob Ponce, all from the Harlem Emergency Network. We got one more quick presentation, and please, everybody stay. We've got a raffle. We've got some giveaways. Everybody that filled out the survey is going to get a little trinket on the way out. So please hang tight for another 15, 20 minutes. Let me get my next presenter. Yes. You didn't get the survey? Okay. What?
I was trying to get all the hosts. Where is Dave? Dave, can he come up or does he feel like?
I'll ask him here.
Okay.
What we doing?
We're gonna give away the people who make donations to the station. We're gonna give them crank radios.
Okay.
Reggie.
Reggie, come on now. I'm coming. Hodja, let's go. Come on. I'm here.
Unless somebody is sick.
Hey, Jay Bernstein, come on.
Hello. up here with us. Okay, thank you. How you doing? It's fine. Okay. So everyone that you see standing here, I'm Angela Harden. I'm the general manager of the station. And everybody that you see standing here, these are some of our hosts. There are 69 of them. But this is just a few. They wanted to come out and see you today. This is... Tell them who you are. And when you show.
Oh, hi, everybody. And thank you for coming out. It was a great day today. My name is Kadir Perez. I'm the host of Nutmeg Jazz in the Middle. Comes on Wednesdays, every other Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m. And also host and producer of Another Perspective. Comes on Friday at 5 p.m. Please join in.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We had a great time, learned a lot of information. My name is Reggie, and I'm a co-host and engineer of Another Perspective. Comes on Fridays at 5 p.m. Talk show.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sister Virginia Cotton, Legends of Gospel. How many people listen on Tuesday morning, 6 to 10 a.m.? I play the best gospel music this side of heaven. You better believe it. Take a little trip down memory lane. I go way back. I spotlight my New York tri-state area artists, and we could not have done any of this without the beautiful people like you and all of you out there. And on behalf of all our radio personalities, we want to thank each and every one for supporting WHCR down through the past 35 years. And all we can say is thank you. Don't forget Tuesday morning, 6 to 10 a.m., Legends of Gospel.
Hi, everyone. My name is Antonia Badon with the Harlem Renaissance Time Travel Show. Every Sunday, 4 to 5, and right after that is Blues Annie and Empress, where we play blues from 5 to 6. And if you like theater, look for Zora Neale Hurston's story on 54th Street. It's an off-Broadway play of the life story of Zora Neale Hurston. So check me out every Sunday, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, Harlem Renaissance Time Travel and Chasing the Blues.
Yay!
How's everybody doing today? Nah, that wasn't loud enough. How's everybody doing today? Did you get a pen? Did y'all get a pen? If you didn't get a pen, come see me. I got pens for everybody, all right? Yes, after the survey. That's right. Yes, got you. My name is DJ Robbo. I'm the host of the DJ Robbo Show every Saturday night from 8 to 12. If you're ready to dance, have a good time, play old school music, some dance music, house music, make sure you tune in, all right? I want to thank everybody for coming out today and showing up and showing out.
I'm Bob Ponce, also known as the Night Watchman. My show is the Soul Lounge Prime Time. We are live on WHCR at 7 p.m. on Monday nights. We also live stream on YouTube and Facebook at 8 p.m. on Monday nights. And we cover Harlem. We cover everything that's going on. We've been covering the current race to the White House. We have people who are at both the Republican and Democratic convention on our show. We interviewed our mayor recently, and that's a show worth listening to. Yes. And we just try to do our best to keep our community informed. Thank you.
I'm Wali Abdun, Noor, one of the originators of Harlem 411. I'm not there right now, so I'm going to let the person that's there tell you all about it.
Okay, my name is Haji Wali. I'm on Harlem 411 and beyond because of Wali Abdun Noor, who brought me in here when I knew nothing about nothing. I didn't know nothing about computers. I didn't know nothing about radio. He just threw me in the water, all right? and that was it. And so I'm still here after about, 13, 14 years. I'm still here. And the program I do is Harlem 411 and beyond, along with Keziah Glow and Linda Mondesire, who I don't see here in the audience right now. But we help to keep it going on Fridays at 6 o'clock. Fridays at 6 o'clock. Tune in. We've been doing, some broadcasting in terms of, we try to give you some information about the community. We try to give you some information about news, and we just try to keep it going. So I thank you for the time, and good to see y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Stu Reed. I'm the co-host along with Dave Burstein of Community and Technology. And let me also mention my co-producer back here, Mr. Douglas Frazier, one of the originators and co-producer. Community and Technology every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. We talk about technology, but we try, but the whole focus is to try and give folks perspective on how to use technology, how to transform us from just consumers of technology, actually users and producers of technology, to understand what technology is doing, its impact on us, and to take control of technology so that we are in charge of it. So that's every Wednesday, 5 to 6 p.m. I'm going to let Dave, who is quite a technology journalist and longtime technological aficionado, Dave Burstein.
Otherwise known as a geek. I've been doing lots of this stuff for many, many years. For the last 2 years, I've mostly been doing artificial intelligence, and I've got a pretty good handle on what that is. You hear that on the show, and if you have any questions, I may even know the answers.
Hi, my name is Rick Young. I got a program called What's in Your Hand. What's in Your Hand is a motivational program. We talk about success, achievement, reaching your goals, reaching your dreams, helping others, and of course having fun. And What's in Your Hand was born from Harlem 411 with Brother Wali. And I've done over 1,000 shows thanks to Angela, Wali, and all the other, Tina. Used to come from Far Rockaway to come and teach me how to do the board. I don't even know where Far Rockaway is. And the show was 6 o'clock. The show was 6 o'clock in the morning. How she did it, I don't know how she did it. So every Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. What's in your hand?
Oh, Tina.
Come on, Diva.
Thank you. I am TinaDixon.com. Oh, yes. It's a real website, but don't look now because I ain't did no work on it, okay? But you can tune in to House and Harlem Radio Show. We give you house music all night long. Friday night, 11:59 to 6 a.m., we get it in. Forget about your troubles. Come on and dance with us. Now, if you sprinkle baby powder on your floor, that's your business. We ain't coming to clean it up, okay? And my disclaimer, WHCR is not responsible if you slip, trip, and bust your lip while getting in a two-step. So, with that being said, tune in Friday nights, 11:59 to 6 a.m. We are partying all night long, all right?
All right.
Now, you got the listener survey. If you don't have one, I'll give you one. When you turn them into Miss Cynthia in the back, she going to give you a little something while supplies last, all right? All right? All right.
Okay. Now, I've been the manager of WHCR for 22 years. And over those 22 years, there consistently have been several names that Miss Virginia would bring me a check from, okay? And so we have a little something to give you today. To those people who have been making donations over the years. You've kept us alive even during COVID. Some of you sent checks. And we want you to know that we appreciate you. And I'm gonna call out some names. And if you stand up, I'll have somebody bring the radio to you. And we're going to clap for you, okay? All right. The first person is Mrs. Roberta Burke. We thank you so much. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you who send a check, okay? Miss Mabel Evans. She left? Oh, there she is. Can you hand it to her, Kadir? Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Madison.
I beat up on that one.
Is Miss Cora Olin in here? Miss Cora, oh yes, thank you, Miss Olin. Okay. What about Miss Ruth Jefferson? Is she here? Yeah, that's her. Miss Anna McKenzie? Miss Anna McKenzie? Yeah, there she is. Okay, take it to her over there. There she is. Or you can come on up here and take a bow. Yeah. Come up here and take a bow. Thank you. Okay. And even when we didn't have anything to give you to thank you, you still sent checks, and we really, 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 really appreciate it. Okay. I don't know if Miss May Barthel is here. Yes. Thank you. Look. Can you give that to her? Yeah, Miss May Barthel. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I got some more. How about Miss Laureen Nelson? Is she here? No? She's not here today? Okay. What about Miss Linda Halestock? Is she? No? Okay. All right. Okay, Miss Cynthia Worley. That's, yeah.
Of course, I changed around crib.
His wife sends a check regularly. Okay. Miss Catherine Miller? No? She's not here? Okay. Okay. I'll give it to you to give it to her. Miss Barbara Vanderpool? No? Okay. You'll see her? Okay. All right. That's all I have for now. But thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate you. And if I left out somebody who writes a check, come see me. I got a radio for you. And what it is it's a crank radio. So when WHCR, if the power goes out, let me see, you can, oh, you show 'em. Oh, man. Yeah. If the power goes.
Crank on the back, then you can crank it. It has a light. I ain't cranking. It has a light. You can charge your phones. You can stick your phone in and crank it to charge it. You can tune in to WHCR 90.3 FM on the front so you can hear where to go. And I told you the flashlight. Okay, it ain't gonna turn on now, but it's a flashlight. So it has and it also you can solar charge it if you need to, if you want. And it's got a siren.
Really?
Don't drop it, girl. Catch that.
So you can put it on your terrace and charge it in the sun. Okay? All right? Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank y'all for coming today. I think there's some more presentations. Wait a minute. We're not finished. We're not finished with you. Okay.
One more brief presentation. Please stay. And then after that, we got a raffle giveaway. So hang on for another 15 minutes, please. Very special presentation by by Mr. Doug Frazier from the Smart Community Initiative and Digital Divide Partners. He's our resident technology genius and the guy behind a lot of this technology stuff that we do. He's going to briefly tell you about some of the stuff we're doing out in the community regarding resident public safety. But before that, Dave Burstein wants to say something. Go ahead, Dave.
They need an introduction better than that. I first met Stu and Doug 25 years ago when they were bringing the internet to the South Bronx. And since then, they haven't stopped. Very few people know their name in telecom. The community knows them. But the people who do things like give out Washington money don't. They've the people who are actually doing the work.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out today. We really appreciate everybody coming out to the event. My name is Doug Frazier, and I have been around with these jokers for a little while. And one of the things that we started doing was we set up a teaching network where we went out into the housing projects and started working with the residents in the housing projects to do things to help them. And it all started, one of the things that started, we were at a meeting one day, invited, and one of the ladies got up and said, has anybody ever seen a positive story about the housing authority? And one lady got up and said, I think that's against the law. So what happened was we decided that we would do some things that would try to help. So one of the things that came about was Angela and the radio station had decided that they wanted to find a way very much like Wali said, to keep things working when there's nothing working. So we were kind of brought in, and we started looking for ways to create things that would help people. So we came up with this thing called the EMAS, which is the Electronic Mobile Access System. And behind me, you'll see right here, this is a live shot, a live picture of what we put together. This is what you would have if you had a private communication system, and if you needed an emergency system, it would look like this. It looks unassuming, but it's quite powerful. So this building is, what happened was the college Angela had came to us, and they wanted to find a way how to keep things working even when the radio station and the studio went down. And what happened was, as you all know, car batteries have taken a big leap, because now we have batteries that can power cars. When some of us was little, batteries only powered little cars. And now batteries power big cars. So what we figured out was that you had to have a communication system, a mobile communication system that would work almost anywhere. This is on the top of this is a live picture on the top of a disaster center here at the college. The college across the street is a major disaster center. And so if there's a disaster, this is where you bring your butt, across the street. Because it's on top of a hill and out of the flood zone. But so what happens if there's no communication? What would you do? Right, so what we did was we said, let's put in some elements that would allow you to have a communication system that would work when nothing else is working. So the first thing you would have to have, the two first things you would have to have is a way to get the signal. So you could either pick up the signal from here, from space, internet, or you could take the signal from here, terrestrial. This points at the Harlem Hospital, because that's one of the places that we did. We did Harlem Hospital. We built Harlem Hospital. We put the internet in all of the clinics, elevators, the weight room, the command center, and we connected them up from here. Dave's right, nobody gave a shit. No one cared. And we did state office building, and what we were trying to do was connect up the places to have service that had their own power. So that if you went to those particular places, we would do it. We did some of the housing project. I see Polly here. She was one of the first buildings that we did. In fact, that may have been her development where the lady said, it's against the law to say something nice about the housing authority. So one of the things you have to have is you have to have the way to get the signal. So this brings the signal in, it's a transceiver. It either comes in or goes out. It works both ways. You need a device to get the signal somewhere and bring it back. And then when you get to these particular locations, when you get somewhere, you have to have something. This little thing right here is a little access point, and this brings you the internet. So if you went somewhere, you would set up your ways to get the signal, then you would use these things so that people could get on the internet. This is a camera that's set up to that, and this camera that's showing the picture is being fed off of one of these two devices. So, and of course, the power is coming from the building, because this particular building, the disaster center building, which is across the street, has its own power system. So you need something like this. So we were in the military, we would be in the signal corps, and they would send somebody out like us to say, set something up so we can start communicating. This is what you would have. So it doesn't look like anything. It looks very unassuming, doesn't it? Yes. But this is what you need when there's no communications and there's no way to get service. And you have the camera here, so you can send back the internet to headquarters and let them know that you ain't driving around. So this is what you need, and this is how we set this up. We did some projects, housing projects, the same way, so that the people in the projects could have emergency systems. We don't know radios. So we gave the people, we trained them, and we gave them, thanks to Wali, we gave them these little walkie-talkies, not this one, but the pastor back there got a good one. Bring that one forward, man. Nah, not that one. That one works on the cellular. Give me the one that works in the, yeah. No, the one with no screen, man. Come on. Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So we give these radios out to the people that live after we train them, the people that live in the projects. We give them these particular radios because this radio, if you notice, has no screen on it. And so all you have to do is turn it on. Power on. 4, 5. And just pick a number. You ain't got to know nothing. Turn it on and pick a number. 6, and if the number is 5, then you tell your neighbor, what we tell everybody, put their thing on 5. And then if you're in your building and something happens, you could go, help me, I need help. I'm on the 18th floor, I'm on the 12th floor, and I can't get out of my house. And you can talk to the people who took the training, who are part of the virtual tenant patrol. Thank you, Polly. And the virtual tenant patrol allows you to use these devices. We also have a number of federal licenses. You wouldn't know that by looking at us. And one of the licenses that we have allows us to use these radios all over the place. We have some here, and we put them at the housing developments so that people can communicate when there's a problem. So they can talk to each other and find out when you need help. And some of those radios, there's also right behind here, there's a big giant radio antenna. Am I right? Where's Wally? There's a big giant radio antenna, right, Wally? That we have up there. So I just want to say this about Wally. We had these big satellite dishes on the bank building on 149th Street because we used to build cable systems. And one day there was a big storm, and I thought the antenna got knocked over. I went and got Wally, and Wally came with me. There was a big giant storm, and we went up on this building, and the wind was raging, and we had to secure this dish. So we got up there on the roof, the wind was blowing. Wally grabbed this big chain and a rope. He ran over to the antenna, and he started trying to tie it down. He said, Doug. And I was over in the corner going, yes. He didn't know. He knew right away that I'd never be a sailor. I was scared shitless on that roof. Even though I had asked him to come and help me, I stood in the corner while he did all the work. Am I making that up, Raleigh? Okay, what others? We were on another roof, and I'm inside. We were in this giant building, and I was inside the bell tower. There's a big bell in the building. I was inside the bell tower, and Wally was up on the upper part of the roof, and I heard this noise, and I looked up. It was this big, giant bird. I'm serious. A big, giant bird. He was so big, and he was flying, and you couldn't hear anything. And I was hiding I was inside the belfry of the bell, hiding. And when the bird flew by, I said, Wally, did you see that? And Wally said, I thought he was going to take me. It was the biggest bird I ever seen. I mean, it looked like an osprey or something. We were in the Bronx. I'm serious. Well, you know, one thing about us men, we know who's a punk and who's not. And we don't try to hide it either, unlike others. So to kind of wrap everything up, one of the things that we learned is that you have to have resiliency in the communication networks. You have to have a way to make things work when there's nothing working. Nobody thought about that. I was around when they had the 911. When they knocked down the buildings, Stu called me on the phone. He said, hey, guess what? They knocked down the buildings. I said, what buildings? He said, the World Trade Center. I immediately called my daughter, who had a cell phone. I brought her a cell phone, $1,000 a month. I like to broke my neck, wondering who she was going to talk to. And I called my daughter up, and I told my daughter, do not get on the subway to come home. Get on the bus, and come home on the bus. And then after about, Stu called me again and said, hey, they just knocked down another building. And one of my friends pulled up, and we drove down to, my daughter was going to school at 57th Street. We drove down there, and I went and got my daughter. I went and picked her up from down there, and I didn't want her coming home by herself. And what I learned is that when there's an emergency, the first thing you do is worry about the people who you care about the most. Usually your kids, or the people who are like your kids. And once you get them secure, you're okay. And back then, they didn't have the kind of communication systems that we have now. So the idea is to teach people how to use the communications, because everybody talks about getting the internet and how much it costs. That's all bullshit, because there's no price that's going to be beneficial when you're a poor person. So what you really need to do is be able to figure out, what the heck do you do with it? How do you use it? What do you use it for? And so these are some of the kinds of things that we do. And if you look up, Stu will tell you later, we got a lot of stuff that we've done in the authority around and some of the housing buildings. I thought that was you. I thought that was you, Angeline. We did her building. We did Angeline's building, and when we did her buildings, first thing she said was, we got to do the back stairwell. I said, somebody cleans the back stairwell. Why don't we do the parking lot? Because people back there doing stuff. So we put a camera in the parking lot, and people were able to see who was coming. Obviously, that took a lot of the. Oh, okay, wow, Stu. So this is one of the. Wow, look at Dave. This is one of the channels. This is one of the streams that we run. We run like 10 different servers, where we allow people to stream for stuff. I was just having a conversation out there with someone who was talking about how they're on YouTube and they keep canceling their. They keep canceling or taking their work out and rejecting it. And so what we learned was, you got to have your own platform. What are you going to do with the internet? You got to have your own platform, and we have like 10 different servers that we have our own platform, and the only person that supervises it is me and my cat, Mr. Kitty. And Mr. Kitty is a girl, so he can take a joke. Wali, want to talk?
Yeah. I just wanted to say that when I started, I said that I started with NISM and the CERT. And the reason why I went there, not for emergency preparedness, I went there because I was the chief engineer here, and we were looking for some kind of way to keep the station on the air when you had a blackout. Well, I never found it at CERT, even though I found other good stuff. But guess what? It was right here in the community with these guys. And that's why you gotta have a community emergency response, because what you need is here.
Good thing that bird didn't take you, bro. And I still haven't paid him for the work that he did that day. He ain't get shit from me. So what we wanted to do was have a way that you'd have to be able to communicate in the community, be able to use the internet, teach people how to use the internet, how to program the internet. We could show you lobbies of different buildings and stuff, but I think you guys know that we kind of know what we're doing. So what you want to do is we put TVs in the lobby and some of the developments so that people could, some of the tenants came to us and said, the kids are hanging in the hallway. So we put TVs in the lobby with the cameras so that you can see yourself when you come in, so you can see yourself on the TV. So as most buildings, you have cameras that you don't know if they're working. But if you walk in the buildings, you look at that camera, you be going, oh, that shit's working because I can see myself. And the kids stop hanging in the hallway in the lobbies because they don't know who can see them. They neighbors, they friends. And then we also have a chat function at each building, so you could actually get on the chat and say, yo, get your ugly butt out that hallway like I told you. So, you need to have things where people can come together as community and have ways where, so you see the chat here, and people could get on there and chat and talk about who's in the building or whatever. Yeah, well, it's not, you said CC? Huh?
Coming into the apartments or whatever.
Yeah, we have cameras in the lobbies in certain buildings where the virtual tenant patrol, like in Angeline and Polly's building, where the tenants can look on their phone and see who's coming in and out the lobby. At first, people were against it, but then they thought it was a great idea. Yeah, sorry.
So, Mr. Frazier, I'm from the Dyckman Houses, and I'm on the TA board there. My question to you is, you mentioned that you were able to get walkie-talkie two-way radios. Did NYCHA assist you in paying for that for the tenants?
Next question. Next question. Next question. All the stuff that we did was funded by the residents. Because if you, don't start me on that, because if you really look around, there's one of the things that we don't have in our community is opportunity. There's no economic opportunity, and we all know who the system is tilted to help. So in the sense, going into all that. So what you have to do is have opportunity, and if you can't get it from somebody, you have to create it yourself. And one of the things that we learned from doing this with Stu is that, Stu's my business partner, and what Stu says, sometimes when you don't have money, you have to be creative, and sometimes you have to be creative to the 24th power. So that's what you have to do. You have to figure out how to get things done, how to handle your yo-yo.
Can I have that a minute? Actually, there's $2.5 billion in the federal budget to hook up communities to the internet, which certainly could pay for that kind of thing. It's called the BEAD program, and the BEAD, and it is just getting started in New York State and around the country. And the local politicians have access to that kind of money, and go to them and tell them you want to get the BEAD money actually out to the community. The money is there.
Okay, you know, I know Dave's a nice man, and he believes nice things, but y'all know who we are. We were interviewed by the BEAD People program, and when they interviewed Stu and I, the first thing I said to him was, I know we ain't getting shit, but I'll answer all your questions because maybe it'll help someone else. But that's not how.
The politicians, and I've spoken to the local congressmen about this kind of thing, and they've got assemblymen and state senators, and most of them are honest people who want to help, unlike, say, our mayor. And go get their help. That's the way to do it.
Well, I would disagree with some parts because we all know who gets the help and who don't. So nobody's tripping here. So we tried to figure out how to do things ourselves. We set up a teaching network where we went into how we got all this stuff done was this is how the kids used to hang out. See them hanging in the hallway? So what we did was when they would hang in the hallway, what you see here, they would hang in the hallway. We would record them hanging in the hallway and then put it on the screen in a loop. So that when they walk in the hallway, they go, oh yeah, that's me. I'm just standing in the hallway doing nothing, and I don't live in the hallway. I myself as a teenager, was arrested in my own building for hanging in the hallway, hanging in the lobby of my building, and the police came in. I started smart mouthing the police about I live in the building. Next thing I know, they said, turn around. Put your hands behind your back. And took me in. They got a crime called loitering. I went down to the tombs, and I spent time in the tombs for loitering. So there's a crime for loitering. Maybe the reason they don't do it right now is because they would have to arrest the homeless people and feed them and take care of them. So they don't probably follow the loitering law anymore. So there it is. So I'm just going to wrap it up. So one of the things we did with the training program, the teaching network, was use the people who are standing around doing nothing, because half the people who live there are unemployed. People don't know that. There's more people in the housing projects than the state of Vermont, and half the people are unemployed, and no one owns their own home. I don't think that would happen to anybody else, or they would do something about that. So we use the teaching network to teach people and train people who don't know nothing how to do this. And as a consequence, we got a lot of things done because we're using people who don't know anything, and we didn't have to pay them. And some of the people got a chance to do something positive in their building. This is one of the buildings we did on the roof. This equipment I showed y'all. Yeah, we put it in with the knuckleheads. Solar panel, Dave's right. We was doing all this stuff a long time ago. You never heard of us, and that's probably why. So here's another housing building with their chat, and so you can see, like if you go on your phone, you can see the lobby, two lobbies. Say those kids, they used to hang in this hallway. That's why we did this building. And we did this a camera we put outside so that you could see the kids if they outside or whoever. And you, no, I'm not, you know. Well, he's talking. I used to do a character called Dr. Blackie, a street psychologist, but I don't do that no more. So this is a picture of that same roof. Here's the big antenna that Wali was talking about. This is the camera that we showed you. This is at night, and you can see how the camera lights up. And these are the two distributing points. So you have to have a way to figure out how to get things working with little or no money. So I would finish by saying this. If the internet was a peanut, we'd be George Washington Carver. Okay, so thank you. Well, they're not. Well, as you already know, they're not picking anybody that looks like us. So one of the things that one of the beauties of working in the housing development that they didn't mind working with us. They didn't mind that. Yes, ma'am. We use. Okay. So, okay. If you want to know about frequencies. All right, so, he had a picture there. So what we use is 60, we use two different frequencies. We use 60 gigahertz, we use 5 gigahertz, and we use 2.4. So we use whatever we can get our hands on that's readily available, and we use that, we like MacGyver. We use stuff in a way that you're not supposed to. That's what MacGyver does.
I just want to ask.
Yeah, what Dave's saying is that. Say that.
The 60 gigahertz is using has just got out of the research labs, and people like Verizon haven't been able to make it work.
Well, it's easy to make something work when you don't got no money.
I just wanted to ask you, what is the range of these radios that you're?
Well, okay, so some of the radios that we showed you on the roof, some of them have a range of 10, 20 miles. Some of the hand radios have a long distance of the radios, not the ones that with an antenna on it. But if you get a licensed radio like this, Pastor, how long is the licensed radio distance, Pastor?
I'm so sorry. Thank you. I'll repeat what I was saying in case you all didn't hear me. That radio only goes, I think, around New York City, if I'm not mistaken.
So 10 miles, 8 miles, something like that?
Something like that.
It's pretty far.
This one went from Fishkill down here to the city. I was able to speak to Wale. The rest of these radios go around the world. You can reach people around the world.
Well, some of them work on a cellular network, so you can talk around the world on it because they use the cellular network. Some of these radios only work on the actual frequency from the FCC. We have a couple of FCC licenses. One, we have to use these radios. I tried to get the license, but they started asking all these criminal questions, so we got the license in Stu's name. Some of us grew up in Harlem with little wild teenagers. So we can't certain things we can't avail ourselves to. Y'all know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Some of y'all know people who went to took their prep with the prep school at Elmira. So, okay. Any other questions? That it? Okay, let's get to the raffles. I want to thank everybody for coming out. We had a great time. Thank y'all for the questions, man. Thank you, Angela, and thank you, Jolie, for coming out and. With the Internet Society and Dave for helping us. I just want to say one thing right quick. The reason why we've been working with the guys from the Internet Society, Dave and Jolie, is because we saw how those guys would work with, particularly like New York Mesh, they would work with them to help them to get started and to help them to move forward. And we thought if we could get with them and gain their trust, they would help us in our community, and they have. So I want to thank them, thank Jolie, and I want to thank Dave for that. Thank you, guys.
Okay, I think that's about it. We're going to have our raffle now with the Nyson folks. You're going to pick the numbers? Okay, but before we do that, thank you all very much. It's been an incredible audience, so engaged. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, yes, okay. We are now concluding our 9th annual Harlem Emergency Preparedness Day. Want to thank all that attended both in person and online. And be sure to revisit the stream on WHCREBT.org and WHCR.org. It will live there until our next event next September. Thanks for attending. Bye-bye.
Thank you.